This is an ABC News special. It's been a history-making campaign.
You and I together, we will change this country.
If you hire me, I will work my heart out for you.
And it's not over yet.
We are marching forward.
I will go to bed
right here in Pennsylvania.
For the people of Pennsylvania.
20 debates, 46 states, and 29 million votes already cast. 3,000 delegates awarded, but still no Democratic nominee. And the sparks are flying.
Senator Obama's remarks are elitist.
She knows better, shame on her.
And they're out of touch.
That's the politics being played.
Simply put, tonight, the stakes couldn't be higher. Clinton, Obama, the Democrats debate one-on-one. Now, live from the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Inside the Kimmel Theater, the candidates await. Charles Gibson and George Stephanopoulos.
Good evening and welcome. And it is fitting that we come to you tonight from the National Constitutional Center, just up Independence Mall, from the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall itself. And we are here in Philadelphia for the Pennsylvania Democratic debate. The contest for the Democratic presidential nomination has gone on for some time, to say the least. This is sort of round 15 in a scheduled 10-rounder. This debate comes after a long pause in the primary and caucus schedule. It's been 5 weeks since the last votes were cast, 6 weeks since last the candidates debated. Much has happened in those 6 weeks, and there is much to discuss. Just to reintroduce and give due respect to the candidates, Senator Hillary Clinton of New York. And Senator Barack Obama of Illinois. ABC News is pleased to sponsor the debate along with the National Constitutional Center. And while the candidates debate on stage, a lively debate will also be unfolding online on abcnews.com and on Facebook. We have time guidelines for answers tonight. 90 seconds to answer a question, 60 seconds for rebuttal. George and I are going to be very lenient about time, but not permissive. I have actually 2 clocks in front of me tracking the total time that a candidate has spoken as the evening goes on. And if we find one speaking longer than the other, we will do our best to equalize time in the later stages of the evening. I've asked the audience not to applaud during the debate. What's important is not the reaction of those in the Kimmel Theater, but the reaction of voters in Pennsylvania who go to the polls next Tuesday and people around the country. So we're going to begin with opening statements. And we had a flip of the coin and the brief opening statement first from Senator Obama.
Thank you very much, Charlie and George, and thanks to all in the audience and who are out there. Senator Clinton and I have been running for 15 months now. We've been traveling across Pennsylvania for at least the last 5 weeks. And everywhere I go, what I've been struck by is the core decency and generosity of the people of Pennsylvania and the American people. But what I've also been struck by is the frustration. I met a gentleman in Latrobe who had lost his job and was trying to figure out how he could find the gas money to travel to find a job. And that story, I think, is typical of what we're seeing all across the country. People are frustrated not only with jobs moving and incomes being flat, health care being too expensive, but also that special interests have come to dominate Washington and they don't feel like they're being listened to. I think this election offers us an opportunity to change that, to transform that frustration into something more hopeful, to bring about real change. And I'm running for president to ensure that the American people are heard in the White House. That's my commitment if the people of Pennsylvania vote for me and the people of America vote for me.
Senator Clinton?
Well, we meet tonight here in Philadelphia, where our founders determined that the promise of America would be available for future generations if we were willing and able to make it happen. You know, I am here, as is Senator Obama. Neither of us were included in those original documents, but in a very real sense, we demonstrate that that promise of America is alive and well. But it is at risk. There is a lot of concern across Pennsylvania and America. People do feel as though their government is not solving problems, that it is not standing up for them, that we've got to do more to actually provide the good jobs that will support families, deal once and for all with health care for every American. make our education system the true passport to opportunity, restore our standing in the world. I am running for president because I know we can meet the challenges of today, that we can continue to fulfill that promise that was offered to successive generations of Americans starting here so long ago. And I hope that this evening, voters in Pennsylvania and others across the country will listen carefully to what we have to say. We'll look at our records. We'll look at the plans we have. And I offer those on my website, HillaryClinton.com, for more detail, because I believe with all my heart that we, the people, can have the kind of future that our children and grandchildren so richly deserve.
Thank you both. And with that as preamble, we will take a very short commercial break, and we will come back and begin 90 minutes of debate. The Pennsylvania Democratic debate continues after just 1 minute.
Live from the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, once again, Charles Gibson and George Stephanopoulos.
We'll begin each of the segments of this debate with short quotes from the Constitution that are apropos to what we're going to talk about. And it is good to be back here at the National Constitution Center. So let's start. And I'm going to give a general question before we get to the issues to both of you on politics. There have already been many votes in many states. And you have each, as you analyze the vote, appealed disproportionately to different constituencies in the party. And that dismays many in the party. Governor Cuomo, an elder statesman in your party, has come forward with a suggestion. He has said, look, fight it to the end. Let every vote be counted. You contest every delegate. Go at each other right to the end. Don't give an inch to one another. But pledge now that whichever one of you wins this contest, you'll take the other as your running mate, and that the other one will agree, if they lose, to take second place on the ticket. So I put the question to both of you. Why not? Don't all speak at once.
Well, I'm happy to start with a response. Look, this has been an extraordinary journey that both Senator Clinton and I have been on, and a number of other able candidates. And I think very highly of Senator Clinton's record. But as I've said before, I think it's premature at this point for us to talk about who vice presidential candidates will be, because we're still trying to determine who the nominee will be. But one thing I'm absolutely certain of is that come August, when we're in Denver, the Democratic Party will come together, because we have no choice if we want to deliver on the promises that not only we've made, but the founders made. We are seeing people's economic status slipping further and further behind. We've seen people who have not only lost their jobs, but now are at risk of losing their homes. We have a sharp contrast in terms of economic policies. John McCain wants to continue 4 more years of George Bush policies, and on the foreign policy front wants to continue George Bush's foreign policy. So I'm confident that both Senator Clinton supporters and Senator Obama supporters will be supporting the Democratic nominee when we start engaging in that general election.
But Senator Clinton, Governor Cuomo made that suggestion because he's not so sure, and other Democrats are not so sure. Just a quote from the Constitution again. In every case, Article 2, Section 1, after the choice of the president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. If it was good enough in colonial times, why not in these times?
Well, Charlie, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make sure that one of us takes the oath of office next January. I think that has to be the overriding goal, whatever we have to do. Obviously, we are still contesting to determine who will be the nominee. But once that is resolved, I think it is absolutely imperative that our entire party close ranks, that we become unified. I will do everything to make sure that the people who supported me support our nominee. I will go anywhere in the country to make the case. And I know that Barack feels the same way, because both of us have spent 15 months traveling our country. I have seen the damage of the Bush years. I've seen the extraordinary pain that people have suffered from because of the failed policies. You know, those who've held my hands, who've lost sons or daughters in Iraq, and those who've lost sons or daughters because they didn't have health insurance.